The heartbreaking story of Henry. The abandoned dog who dragged a 100-pound burden. Henry once enjoyed the comfort of a loving home, a life filled with warmth and familiar footsteps. But everything changed the day he was abandoned on a beach in Newport, California. Alone, confused, and barely able to move, Henry's world became eerily quiet. What made this tragedy even more horrific was the enormous weight he carried, a 100-pound tumor that pressed heavily on his shoulder, deforming his body and making every step a painful ordeal. Beachgoers were stunned when they first spotted him. His eyes, though dulled with fatigue, still shone with a shimmer of trusted belief that people can be kind. However, his frail body told a different story. His fur was matted, his breathing labored, and his movements slow and unsteady. Every time he tried to walk, he trembled under the weight of the tumor. Witnesses later described the moment as the dog trying to carry a weight heavier than Hope herself. Fortunately, compassion came to him. A passerby contacted Newport Beach Animal Control, which quickly arrived on the scene. When officers approached Henry, he didn't bark or resist. Instead, he simply lowered his head, as if resigning himself to the fate that had finally overtaken him. At the shelter, veterinarians were stunned by the size of the tumor. It accounted for nearly half the dog's body weight. They immediately realized that time was not on Henry's side. He needed urgent surgery, expert care, and a miracle to survive. But most of all, he needed something even more important: a chance. Animal Control contacted the nonprofit rescue organization True Friends Animal Shelter, known for helping even the most challenging cases. When their team met Henry, they were overwhelmed with emotion. They saw a dog abandoned by his people, yet still looking at everyone with a quiet hope of being saved. Henry was rushed to a state-of-the-art veterinary clinic, where specialists prepared him for high-risk surgery. Removing the 46-pound tumor from the dog's body was an extremely challenging task, not only because of its size, but also because of the strain it placed on his muscles, bones, and organs. Preoperative scans revealed how deeply the tumor had spread in his shoulder, limiting his movement and threatening vital functions. Despite the risk, the surgical team continued to work. Henry had carried this burden for far too long. The operating room was tense. The surgeons worked carefully, removing layer after layer of the gigantic tumor that was robbing Henry of his mobility and dignity. Then came the moment the tumor was removed and carefully placed on the scale. 46 pounds. Silence reigned in the room. For the first time in years, Henry's body was free. But freedom did not mean recovery, not yet. Henry's post-operative period was long and painful. His muscles weakened, his nerves needed time to recover, and his body needed to learn to move again without the unnatural weight pressing down on him. And yet, with each passing day, he amazed everyone. His first steps were small, wobbly, and uncertain, but they were steps he hadn't been able to take without pain for a long time. Volunteers quietly greeted him as he approached them, his tail wagging gently. It was the beginning of a new life. As the weeks passed, Henry was transformed. His eyes brightened, his breathing became more even. He rediscovered joy in simple things: soft blankets, gentle hands, the sound of human voices calling his name. He began to trust again, and people began to understand how much strength a dog can carry, both physically and emotionally. Henry's story soon spread across social media, attracting thousands of supporters touched by his resilience. Donations poured in to cover his medical expenses, and the foundation's mailbox was filled with messages of love. People from all over the world sent prayers, encouragement, and letters expressing admiration for a dog who had survived the unimaginable and still found the courage to love. Eventually, Henry recovered enough to begin searching for a forever home, not just any home, but one that would compensate him for the years of silent suffering he had endured. Families reached out, hoping to provide Henry with the peaceful life he deserved. And when a suitable match was found, it was easy to see. Henry confidently walked toward them, wagging his tail, as if he had finally found a place where pain could no longer haunt him. His new family welcomed him with open hearts, offering him safety, comfort, and the love he had once lost. Now Henry spends his days resting on soft beds, exploring backyards, and receiving love from people who see him not as a random illness, but as a soul who courageously fought for life. Henry's story reminds us that loneliness doesn't end a story, compassion can change it. His strength, his ability to survive, and his ability to trust again testify to the power of kindness. And for every animal still waiting for rescue, Henry is a symbol of hope, proving that even the heaviest burden can be lightened if someone cares and helps.